Hello, and welcome to Anna's favorite podcast. We're going to be talking about Colombia and its greatness, and of course, its faults too. I am sure you guys have many questions about Colombia and the misconceptions that I have seen around the world whilst I've been traveling. Many times I have been stopped by immigration officers. I've been searched. My suitcases have been emptied just because I was a lucky person to have been born in the beautiful Colombia. So I'm just going to give you a little brief history of Colombia. We were colonized by Spanish explorers, arriving mainly through the Caribbean coast. So that's the Atlantic Ocean. In the 1500s. By the year 1533, that's when they found the city of Cartagena, or Cartagena, as it's known, for the Jewels of the Nile. It's a famous movie with Michael Douglas, exactly.
And
I can't remember the other
Kathleen
person.
Turner.
That's it, yes. So this castle was in 1984, was designated as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So it's very beautiful and you are very welcome to go and visit anytime. Colombian people are known for being welcoming and friendly as well. Colombia is a very diverse in its population.
Yeah.
So we have mestizos, who are the mix between European and indigenous people. That will be maybe the 50% of the population. So you can't actually point to just one type of looking Colombian person because we have tall people with blonde hair, blue eyes, tall people that have indigenous facial structure.
Complexion and
Complexion. We also have a mix with the Africa Colombians mix that would probably be a smaller percentage. I would say maybe the 10% of people.
Right.
And then we have an awful lot of mix with European people, short people. We can have all sorts. I cannot describe only one sort of looking Colombian. We have the influence of Asian and Arabs. That's why Shakira Mebarak, the surname that she talks about being an Arab descendant, comes from. But we also have Sofia Vergara, which is a very, very Spanish surname.
It is indeed. So, I mean, I must admit, all the Colombians that I've met, it's very hard to pinpoint one visual stereotype. I would have thought a lot of the guys would have been sort of medium to tall height, darkish complexion, dark hair, but that's not always the case, is it, Anna?
No.
You know, you have got some guys that got blonde hair, some guys have, dark hair. Some guys are tall, some guys are short.
Yep, and we also have now the influence of the mix with Venezuelans, who to start with, maybe we were this kind of the same looking people. There were 5 countries that made the Gran Colombia before they all got split into different countries. Did you know that Panama was part of Colombia? La Gran Colombia it was called.
When was that?
So Panama was part of Colombia, and until the Americans.
Sorry, that phrase you used, I'd never actually heard that before. Gran Colombia. What do you mean?
La Gran Colombia?
Yeah. What does that mean in English? The Great Colombia, or?
La Gran Colombia means the big Colombia. So did you know that Panama was part of Colombia? In those days, it was called the Gran Colombia. So Panama was actually a state that belonged to Colombia until 1904, where the United States took control of the Panama Canal Zone. And this is due to the external debt. It was so big that they were able to say to Colombia, instead of giving us this amount of money that you owe us, we're going to have the usage exclusively for the United States of America for 100 years. By the time they finished the 100 years, Panama wanted to be an independent state, and they became a country in their own right, which sucked to Colombia, really. But we are very similar to the Panamanians in
Okay.
culture, race,
Yeah.
and tradition as well. It's very sad. That's something that I can't get over. But, you have to. So the official language as well is Spanish. It's not Portuguese. Many people get it confused, but it's Spanish. We do have a different accent to this Spanish from Spain. Many people would prefer the Spanish from Spain. They have the th, so the C pronunciation, and the Z is different to Latin America. We pronounce the C and the Z as an S all the time. Corazón, caricias, we don't have that. We say caricias, corazón. So it's the same.
Corazon as in from the heart? Yeah.
Yes. Oh, a little bit. Yes, and we have been having a lot of conflict with the guerrillas since the turn of the century on the 20th century.
So how long's that guerrilla war been fought?
So I believe that the first revolution kind of thing happened with Gaitan. So his name was Jorge Eliezer Gaitan, where on the April the 9th, I think it was 1948, he was assassinated. And that sparked a period of violence, and it was called El Bogotanazo, which created many groups of criminal organizations, and there was an awful lot of violence. Around, I think it was 200,000 Colombian people died during this time. That also gave...
What was that war being... So it was sparked over an assassination.
So he was a defendant of the popular class, and he wanted to claim many rights that the elite had hijacked from the campesinos, who are the farm workers, and the industrial and the working class. He was a voice for these people that didn't have their voice, and that's one of the reasons why he got killed, or the major reason. That sparked the movement M19, which is quite well known for historians and political studies, which came to power recently with Petro, the new president of Colombia. He was part of the M19. We also had the FARC, FARC, which is the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia. They have caused many problems. They established as well in 1964. The M19 was in the mid-50s. So in 2016, under the President Juan Manuel Santos, the peace treaty was signed. There was a populist vote, which I believe was a no, because the Colombian people didn't believe that the FARC deserved to be unpunished for all the criminal activity. They weren't only defending the rights of the working class and the campesinos, but they were also kidnapping, violating every single human right that was written. They were also using bombs, blowing up clubs full of teenagers, and doing all these criminal activities, as well as getting involved with the drug trafficking and much more. So the Colombian people voted no, but President Santos just ignored the vote and signed it, ending 50 years of conflict, which in a way was good, but not in a way that he planted it to be, because they became part of the Congress and they had absolutely all their points in their agenda were approved. and nothing that was positive for the Colombian reform was implemented. So a lot of military tribunals were done under the FARC. So anybody that was involved with catching these criminals, whether it was police officers or the military, were punished. And that was very unfairly done. And this is where we are. They have these judges that are corrupt. And this is what's happening right now. Our president comes as well from the M19, which is the other guerrilla group. And he's not doing anything to stop the FARC from being the dissident group that it still is. Some of them became part of the government, but many of them decided to stay in the jungle and hiding, and they continue with the same kind of
Still to this day?
process. Yes, it's a little bit safer, I would say. There's not so much kidnapping and extortion and, I would say, human trafficking as well.
Really?
As we know,
Yeah.
that's a big problem in the whole of Latin America. But apart from that, everything else is beautiful.
Thank you for getting all the bad stuff out of the way first, Anna. Okay, so
Yeah.
tell me about 3 things that are fabulous in Colombia.
What do you know?
Okay, what do I know? I know there's great coffee.
Yes.
I've recently come to know there's beautiful orchids. I have also come to know that Colombia has a very interesting geography, from rainforest to mountains to beaches. And the other thing is that you have Pablo Escobar.
Yeah, that's exactly
But
I don't know that we want to talk about Pablo Escobar.
no, there's been lots written about him. So why don't we talk about things that most people would not know? Perhaps let's talk about current Colombia rather than some of the historical stuff's important, obviously, for people to get an idea of where the country's come from and politically where it sits. But as someone who has travelled the globe a little bit, I decided I wanted to go to South America for a holiday, and I thought, I'd love to go to Colombia. Why not? It's got mountains, it's got rainforests, it's got friendly people, apparently, and beautiful beaches, and there's a lot you can do, and they have a peso. So it's probably reasonably good value to travel there. What would be some things that would be worth seeing?
Well, considering that Colombia is one of the best countries for observing flora and fauna, I will say after visiting Bogota, which is the capital of Colombia,
Right.
and by the way, you will have to try the coca tea.
The what?
Coca tea.
What is that?
So coca.
Oh, coca tea.
Yes, coca tea.
Okay.
So it is legal. You can buy in any
I
supermarket.
assumed it was.
Yeah, and because of the altitude, is 2,700 meters above the sea level. Is one of the highest situated or located city in the world, or the capitals of the world. It's an absolutely thriving city. The best restaurants, gastronomy, buildings. You can see the historic buildings from 500 years ago when the Spanish colonizers came. They still
But what's the
have been
architecture?
kept.
Sorry to interrupt. What's the architecture of?
So if you go to the center of Bogota, you would still, as I said, just be able to see some of these old buildings that dated to like 500 years ago.
Yeah, sure.
There is a place called Usaquén, which is in the north of Bogota. They're beautiful buildings where now they have located some really good restaurants. So that will be one of the places that you definitely have to see, I would say, Bogota. So in Bogota, you also have to go downtown to see the emeralds because, believe it or not, this is one of the world leading countries in production and sale of the emeralds. Are absolutely beautiful.
Emeralds.
The green
Yeah.
color, amazing. And You will see them in Bogota. There's many shops around Hotel Tequendama, one of the five-star hotels, one of the many hotels, five-star hotels in Bogota.
Okay.
So going to the coffee region, beautiful people and beautiful flowers. If you want to see the best flower shops and shows, that will be around this area. They have the best temperature, I would say, in the whole of Colombia, because it's like they call it the eternal spring. So more or less 24 degrees all year round. And that's probably why the coffee and the flowers are very popular, because they have the perfect weather. Also, the soil, I believe, and I was reading, contributes to the flavor of the coffee. And also because of the mountainous region and the volcanic soil that makes it very rich and different flavors. Quite sweet. Colombian coffee aroma is absolutely fantastic.
So a question, like you and I both went and had coffee this morning prior to recording this. If I was in Bogota and I went to get a coffee, would it present similar to what coffee? Because I know, for example, in different parts of the world, they present coffee in different ways. I'm a bit of a coffee nut. I have to have a coffee every day. So if I rocked up to Bogota and I thought I'd go and get a coffee in the morning, what would it be presented the same way?
It depends where you go. You can go to the best coffee.
Yeah.
Is in the little boutique shops.
And when you say best, what is it that makes it best? The beans, the way they present it?
It's the way they present it and the taste as well. Okay. So if you go to a place called Juan Valdez, and it's very disappointing because Juan Valdez, the coffee as the brand, is well known.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But when you go to Bogota and you go to Juan Valdez, to the place where you actually get the Juan Valdez coffee, I have taken many friends from France, England, and the US, and they have actually been a little bit disappointed because they thought that they were going to get better coffee than the chains that we always get in Australia or the UK, like Cafe Nero or Starbucks or Giraffe. Is that Giraffe here?
Zarafas is fairly local to Queensland, mostly.
Sorry, Zaraffa.
That's all right. No sponsorship coming. All right. I personally, I love Zarafas, 100% support Zarafas every morning. Get a coffee, love them. Thank you. We'll take your sponsorship.
Yes, yeah, I don't. Oh, yeah, I don't know. Well, okay, everyone has different.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. And I suppose that's why I asked the question.
So Juan Valdez, I will probably say go and have a taste. You may like it, but the people that I've taken there, they think that it tastes burnt and very strong,
really
bitter.
Oh,
so
really?
I don't know if they're getting the coffee from this coffee region, which is the one that actually is used for the export of the coffee, or would they get the coffee in Juan Valdez from somewhere else? I need to find out, and I will find out for you.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay.
I know that this coffee that they are now growing in the south of Colombia, and it's a very volcanic soil because that's where the Andes connect to the south. I haven't tested, but maybe that's probably Juan Valdez tastes like that. But I know that the coffee in Medellin, Pablo Escobar's birthplace, is the best coffee that I have had.
I didn't actually realize that town was his birthplace.
Yes.
Wow.
It's absolutely beautiful. That's another place that you guys have to see. You were asking me. People are very welcoming. It's a party town. You have all the international stars, the singers, they all come to Medellin. I don't know if the attraction is to see Pablo Escobar's place where he got buried, because I know that many people just go to Medellin to see that. But apart from that, that's not just the only place that you can see in Medellin and Antioquia. Guatapé is a big rock, and you have to go and see it, basically. Guatapé, there's many, many places around Medellin that you would like to see. The flower shows I believe it's in February. They have a carnival where all the people that, the florists, they make these flower arrangements where you won't see this show anywhere else in the world. You have to see the photographs, guys. Just go to your search engine and you'll see what I am saying.
So is Medellin? Would you describe that as is it a seaside town or is it a mountain town?
It's more mountains, yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Oh,
Yeah, they don't have sea, but they are in the north of Colombia, very close to Panama,
okay.
and very
Okay.
close to the Atlantic and the Pacific Ocean. Yes.
Okay. So is it a city? Is it vastly bigger than Bogota? Or
No, Bogota is the biggest. The capital has almost 12 million, 11 million people.
right?
Obviously, that's where all the multinational companies are. But Medellin is a very developed city. They have a train. In Bogota, they don't have trains. So people from Medellin are very, very proud of the development that they have, the architecture as well. And just to say, just a little pointer there, many years ago, the governor in Medellin thought about this great idea because the weather is all year round 24 degrees to 25 degrees, and the soil is very fertile to plant trees for the poor people, the frugal trees, so people can actually help themselves to bananas or mangoes or any of these fruit that are for free on the streets. I think it's a very brilliant idea.
So who planned that? The governor.
I don't know the name of the governor, but I know that you can see the trees when you visit Medellin. One day, guys.
Okay.
Hopefully we'll be able to say welcome to you.
Yeah, that's nice. So where else would you suggest people go?
There's so many regions. Now, if you want to know the influence in Colombia, I would say there's two places where you have a lot of fun and also beauty.
Is that like when you say African? Do you mean you mean literally African? Or,
Yeah, they brought the Spanish brought the many African slaves to build the infrastructure, the architecture of the castle in Cartagena, which it was going to be my next topic. That was built by African people brought as slaves 500 years ago, and that was built to protect the city against. So the Spanish built this to protect the port against the advances of the English that were coming to get the gold and do everything else that, the colonizing. And they also brought some African people to the Pacific Ocean. And that's the sugar. So south of Medellin, going almost to the border with Ecuador, there's a region there called Nariño. Mm. So all the area of the Pacific Ocean from Nariño to Valle del Cauca, Cali, that's more or less that's where you're going to find in Choco the African influence. Absolutely gorgeous people. The music is fantastic, and the best dances in the world, you can find them in Cali. And that's, I'm telling you, that's true. So going to the Pacific, Cali will be the city to visit. Beautiful women and the bars where you can see salsa being danced, a Colombian style, very speedy feet. They're actually the champions of salsa, believe it or not. I know salsa comes from Cuba, but they're in small little places in Cali where you find the best salsa. And if you go now to the Atlantic Ocean, you have Cartagena. It's an absolutely beautiful city with a castle. And going up, we have the oldest city, the port of Barranquilla. It's a very university town with a lot of foreigners that come to study there because of the universities.
Which town was that again?
Barranquilla. It's right next. It's an hour from Cartagena, north of Cartagena. And if you drive 1 hour north from Barranquilla, you will find Santa Marta.
Yes.
Santa Marta has many historic buildings from dating 500 years ago as well. Absolutely stunning. These three cities are very beautiful.
Do I pronounce them right? Cartagena?
Yes.
Barranquilla?
Barranquilla, yes.
Kia. What was the other one?
Santa Marta.
Santa Marta, yes.
And if you want to drive a little bit further up that way, Guajira is a very beautiful place. It's a desert, actually. It's where the ocean meets the desert. It's absolutely beautiful. There's so many places in Colombia that you can visit. Bucaramanga is in the border with Venezuela, and the mountainous region is to die for.
Well,
So those are some of the places that you can see. Actually, Pasto, right in the south.
okay.
There's a carnival in January, the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th.
3 days.
And it's called the white people and the black people. So the 2 days. The 5th is for the black people and the 6th is for the white people.
Pasto.
And then you
Yeah.
cover yourselves with, I don't know, the it's like a black Vaseline. And you have to accept people politely. They will ask if they can give you a little mark on your face with this black Vaseline. But if you don't want people touching your face or trying to touch your clothing,
What is that
you
all
can
about?
just celebrate in diversity.
Okay. Oh,
And this has been going on for many, many years. And people celebrate black people and they celebrate the whites. For the white celebration, they cover themselves in powder, a lot of powder. And people are just going to throw powder at you, so you have to wear goggles and all of this protection. But that's a carnival, and they bring about some of the most wonderful artistic ideas. So in this carnival, they carry like the big carriages with these effigies.
I'm not 100% sure, Anna, but
So
possibly.
imitation of giant humans with different colors. But they make this in paper and wood and all sorts of materials that they paint with different colors. And you can actually see them in the internet somewhere.
Okay, look, I was just...
It's very well known.
I was actually, while you were saying that, I was just reading about it. And it says, translated English, it says, what is the Black and White Carnival? The Black and White Carnival is one of the most symbolic Colombian festivals reflecting the cultural traditions of the region. It was declared a cultural heritage of humanity by UNESCO in 2009, and every year it brings together tourists from abroad and locals across Colombia. Colombia has a wide variety of fairs and festivals, which are held in different regions throughout the year. Each year kicks off with the Black and White Carnival, one of the most recognised festivals in the country. Over 6 days, the city of Pasto becomes the backdrop for this important event.
So we have another carnival, just moving on from that one. So that's in January.
Yes.
And in February, El Carnaval de Barranquilla. So Carnival of Barranquilla, which is one of the cities in the Atlantic. So Pasto is in the Pacific. And in the Atlantic, you can move on in February to this carnival, which is in Barranquilla, is one of the biggest and most vibrant carnivals in the world. And it's also recognized by UNESCO as a masterpiece for heritage of humanity. So that's two of these very important carnivals. Also, I just want to mention something positive, that Colombia is the birthplace of Gabriel Garcia Marquez, who's a Nobel Prize winner for literature. There's a movie made of 100 Years of Solitude.
Ah, really?
Yes.
I think I've seen that.
It's
Yes.
a very good film. It's a bit complicated to understand, but if you are a fan of Gabriel Garcia, I highly recommend it.
Okay. Anything else that's... okay, so there's some festivals and some things that are very interesting. Okay, if you're like me and you grew up on the coast and the beach, where would you go if you wanted to? Is there any surf in Colombia? Is there anywhere you can go surfing?
That would be the Atlantic Ocean, yes.
Okay.
We also have 2 little islands off the coast of the Atlantic Ocean, which you probably see the surfing there. Maybe a little bit, I don't know a lot about surfing. But San Andres and Providencia are the 2 islands. But you also, I've seen some surfers around Santa Marta.
One of the things that I absolutely amazed by is the quality of the musicians in Colombia. It seems like everybody has this natural born talent, natural born gift. As a musician myself, the natural rhythms of Colombian music, it seems to be infused with the subtleties of a lot of rhythms from all of South America there. But like, who are some of your favorite musicians and singers?
Oh, I have many.
I'm sure you do. Just a couple, Anna. Hold yourself.
Carlos Vives.
Right.
Shakira is another one.
Mm-hmm. Well known, yes. Was well known, yes, in Western circles.
Fonseca.
Okay.
Pretty Boy.
I don't know who that is.
Yep, all of them.
All of them?
Yep, and there's more.
Yes.
And there's many types of music as well. I mean, you being a musician and me loving music as well. I can say that maybe cumbia is one of the very popular types of music that's is part of the folklore of Colombia,
Right.
but is known worldwide.
So how's it played? Like from what I've seen from a lot of
Drums.
Okay, so what are the elements that generally make up a lot of
Folklore?
traditional Colombian music? So from what I've seen, they have a couple of different types of guitar, generally
Yes.
acoustic guitars.
Yes.
Okay, so they've got a 4-string, which you told me the name of once.
Cuatro.
A cuatro, that's right.
That's for Llanero, which is the border with Venezuela. They share the same type of music. And you also play the harp with this, goes with a cuatro, and maracas,
Yes.
and a guitar.
The maracas players are
Yeah, those are
foundation.
joropo. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I think the maracas players really are extremely
Skillful.
skillful. Great
Yeah.
word. Yeah, they are very skillful. Like, it's not how I've seen maracas get played anywhere else.
Definitely not.
Yeah, very, very foundational element within Colombian music too. There's drums. There's
So we have the influence of, it's a blending of African with the Spanish, with indigenous, with the Caribbean. You have a wonderful mix of music. Okay, so vallenato is another type of music,
is that a
Caribbean as
oh
well.
right, okay.
So the main one of the noises part of the instruments will be the accordion,
Yes.
drums. So it will be it's like a box, but it's
Yes.
one
Yes.
drum, or the bongos.
Yes.
Usually it's just a one drum, and you play guacharaca. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, it's difficult to explain
is.
all these instruments, and this is a percussion one. The other type of music we have salsa, and I know is origin are Cuba and Puerto Rico, but salsa has a very strong presence in Colombia, especially in Cali, as I said. And it is called salsa capital of the world.
Yeah.
So if you have the love for salsa, I would say Cali is not a mist.
No, and the dancing with that music is very
Difficult.
yeah, that's good too. It's very difficult. It's complex. It's fast.
Intricate.
It's intricate. Yeah, you've got all the right words. That's exactly what it is. Yes.
Yep. So champeta is another type of music, and it's very Afro-Colombian, derived from the Caribbean coast. Mm-hmm. And it has, again, a very, very energetic beats with the African influences.
Yeah.
So bambuco is another traditional type of music. Its origins are from the Andean music, and the main instrument, I would say, is a tiple. It's a small guitar with 12 strings.
Yes, that's what they are.
and all the string instruments. Then we have joropo, which is, I'd say to you, with the cuatro, which is 4 strings, guitar, a small guitar. And it has the main instrument, I would say, is the harp, but also the maracas play a very important part in this type of music. We have a porro, we have mapale, it's very African as well. We have curulao, which is derived from the African heritage. We have the reggaeton, as I mentioned, and we have things like tropi pop, pop and rock, etc., etc. So Colombian musical diversity is incredibly rich.
Yeah.
And is because of the cultural heritage and the regional variations that we have across the country.
Yeah, there's a lot of influences all doubling up in there, isn't there? It really is a bit of a melting pot for various cultures. But okay, so here I am. I'm on my tourist trip through Colombia, and I'm rocking up on my own, and I land in Bogota, and I wander around to find somewhere to stay for the evening. Hopefully I've already pre-booked, but if I haven't, and am I going to find, like, please excuse my ignorant question here, but am I going to find a modern comparable city to a Western city?
100%.
Excellent. That's what I want, because I'm very soft.
Oh, yeah. 5-star hotels and, Michelin star restaurants.
Do most of the hotel staff and people that would interact with tourists, do they speak English, or is that going to be a problem?
They would understand you. Some of them will speak English fluently, some of them not so much.
Yeah.
But you get by.
You get by.
And also be really good for anybody interested in going to Colombia to know just the basic Spanish,
Yes.
I would suggest that. That's just as a polite
better
way
than
of
mine.
getting by.
Better than mine.
But Colombian people would go out of the way to make you feel comfortable. And even if you try to speak a little bit of Spanish, they will help you along. And they'll be very, very friendly, taking your hand gently and guiding you through the places and the restaurants and anything that you would ask.
Sure.
We are known for being very friendly.
Yes.
And accepting of all the cultures.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, what you believe, or your cultural background, you will always be very welcome in Colombia.
Oh, isn't that lovely?
The only risk of visiting Colombia is the risk of wanting to stay.
I love it. Sounds like
And I am selling my country.
You are selling your country.
Definitely.
Okay. But before we go, so I would love to go to Colombia. Maybe I will one day. Who knows? But
I think as a musician, it's a must.
Okay. All right. Like, what would you recommend would be a reasonable to actually get the full Colombian experience? Like, you couldn't go there for a few days. You'd need to be there literally for probably a week or two.
A week is not enough.
Yeah, it's not.
Definitely no, especially if you're jet lagged.
Yeah.
I would say if you come from Australia, you're definitely jet lagged because you will be 15 hours behind. So you're actually becoming younger if you go to Colombia, if you're coming from Australia.
Right?
So that's good. Yeah, I always thought about that being a woman.
Yes.
I would say minimum of 2 weeks.
2 weeks, a minimum of 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Okay.
minimum of 2
All right.
weeks.
So if you come for 2 weeks, all right. So another question.
The expense?
Well, the expense, I was also going to say, like, there's different parts of the world where you're, let's just say, safer than others. How do you feel that is in Colombia?
So you can't just arrive on your own.
You can't?
Not knowing where you're going. You have to do a little bit of due diligence before. Also, it would help if you know somebody.
It would.
Colombian or somebody that lives there and can guide you through the parts, just like Colombia would be as safe as you want it to be. It depends where you are, and as dangerous as
any other place on the
any
planet.
other place. The same as say my son was in the UK a year ago, and he was robbed 3 times in a day.
Yeah, yeah.
So I would say it's just as dangerous now anywhere in the world. So you just need to know where you are, what time you are in whichever place you are. You have to just be very careful of your whereabouts. And I think you will be absolutely fine. If you get to a 5-star hotel, usually you get the guides approaching you, sending you in recognized taxis and transportation that are 100% guaranteed. For example, say when you arrive in Bogota, you go to the taxi area and they are filming the number plate of the car that's taking you with the taxi driver's identification number. So we have like an ID. They would take that as well, and they would take the direction of the destination. So if anything happens to that person, they are completely responsible and they have the insurance. So basically they guarantee your safety.
Okay. So Anna, you've pretty much convinced me I'm going to have to go at some point. All right, so I need to find 2 weeks in my very busy schedule to go to time.
You forgot when. I think around Christmas is the best time to go. Because if you really want to have the whole experience of getting to know a little bit more about Colombia, Christmas is like no other place in the world. The way that we celebrate Christmas. So it's a very Catholic country.
Right.
And they start celebrating. So basically from the 1st of December until the 6th of January, there's no stopping party. That's it. You are in for party zone only. So all the events, the artists, international artists, they will always come around the time. You have to just not only budget for presents for your family, but also for gigs. And it's just party time. The 7th of December, you would see in Colombia, people light candles outside their homes, like in the gardens outside on the little pavements. And this is a tradition, a Catholic tradition, indicating that that's the way where Mary is going to start her journey to Jerusalem.
I see.
The 8th is a public holiday.
Okay.
So people get together on the 7th to celebrate this. And then from then on, the 16th, they have something called the novena. And they pray every day, showing the journey of Mary and Joseph being pregnant all the way to the 24th of December. And so you get together with family, you share food, you have Christmas songs, a little bit of music, and then pray and go home every single day for 9 days until the 24th of December. The 24th of December is when you open your presents. Usually you have the whole family together with the children. You share a meal at 12 o'clock.
As in PM or lunchtime?
Midnight. So usually the kids will go to bed for a couple of hours, say from 8 to 10.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you wake them up, or 11 o'clock, you wake them up just before. It's not Father Christmas that arrives with the presents. It's baby Jesus.
Oh, okay.
So baby Jesus is the one that's born on the 24th.
Yeah.
And so you put baby Jesus in the nativity scene.
Yes.
And then he brings a present. So you take the children out for fireworks at 12 o'clock, and an adult or many adults just come rolling down the stairs with bags of presents and put them under the Christmas tree so the children don't see it. And when they come back from seeing the fireworks, the distraction, voila. All the presents are underneath the tree and baby Jesus is born. So the next day, the 25th, is a bank holiday. It's closed. Everybody is tired. You have
so Christmas Day is really the 24th in Colombia.
The 24th, yes.
Oh, interesting.
And the 25th is a day off. We don't have Boxing Day like in England on
and
the 26th.
Australia.
You don't do shopping. No, it's literally a religious holiday. You don't go anywhere.
Oh, the 26th?
The 25th.
The 25th.
Nothing's open.
Okay, so you kind of pull everything forward a bit. like
Possibly, yeah.
because like Christmas Day is Christmas Day here, the 25th, and then you
Yes.
have Boxing Day.
Yeah.
Whereas in Colombia, it's kind of 24th and 25th.
Yeah, but the difference is up until like 3 o'clock in the afternoon on the 24th, people are working in their offices. It's not a day off. The 24th, if it's a Friday, it's a normal working day.
Oh,
So many bosses will be nice enough to say, we're going to close the office at 12 o'clock or
Yeah,
3
yeah,
o'clock
sure.
and you can go home. But it's a working day. The 26th in England is a day off. So
Yeah,
you
yeah,
get
yeah.
the 25th and the 26th. There you only get the 25th. That's it.
oh, okay.
24th you're working. And then there's the leading up to New Year. There's another party. Usually people go to like the country homes or the coast to have the big celebration of the 31st. Friends, usually it's family as well. But you bring your friends with the family, you tag them along, and you have a huge celebration on the 31st. And then you have the Reyes Magos, which are the kings, are coming on the 6th of January. So this celebration and carnivals, that's why we celebrate that. And that's it. That's
Wonderful.
until the 6th of January.
It really is the party time of the year, isn't it?
Yes.
It is. All right. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the last around about an hour hearing all about Colombia. I think you've done a fantastic job selling it to us.
Thank you.
Anna, and maybe next week for our non-Australian listeners, I'll give you a bit of a roundup of what Australia is like from my point of view. Maybe between the two of us, we can develop the tourist meccas of Australia and Colombia.
Yes.
But thanks so much for having an insider's knowledge of Colombia, Anna, and
Thank you for listening, guys. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments below. It will be my pleasure to guide you, find you some guides if you ever visit Colombia. My pleasure to point you in the right direction.
thanks so much, Anna.
Thank you for listening, guys. We'll talk to you next week. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.